You just got your paycheck and you're already thinking about how to spend it, right? Hold on. What if I told you that the next 3 minutes could completely change how you handle that money and potentially make you rich in just 3 months? Robert Kiyosaki, the guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has a specific system that turns your regular salary into a wealth-building machine. And no, this isn't about extreme budgeting or eating ramen for months. Most people get their paycheck and immediately start paying bills, buying groceries, maybe treating themselves to something nice. Sound familiar? Here's the problem with that approach. You're training your brain to see money as something that disappears, not something that grows. Kiyosaki learned this lesson the hard way when he was struggling financially despite having a decent job. He watched his rich dad friend's father handle money completely differently, and it changed everything. The moment your salary hits your account, Kiyosaki says you need to follow what he calls the pay yourself first principle. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think paying yourself first means putting money into savings. Wrong. Savings accounts are where money goes to die slowly thanks to inflation. Instead, you need to immediately move money into what Kiyosaki calls assets before you pay anyone else, including your landlord. I know what you're thinking. How can I pay myself before paying rent? Won't I get evicted? Here's the psychological trick that changes everything. When you pay your assets first, you create what Kiyosaki calls good pressure. Suddenly, you're forced to get creative about covering your expenses. Maybe you realize you don't need that expensive coffee subscription. Maybe you start looking for ways to increase your income. The pressure forces innovation. Let me break down exactly what this looks like in real numbers. Say you make $3,000 per month after taxes. The traditional approach would be rent first, maybe $1,200. Then groceries, $400. Car payment, $300. Utilities, $200. Entertainment, $300. If there's anything left, maybe $50 goes into savings. But there's never anything left, is there? Kiyosaki's approach flips this completely. First thing, when that paycheck arrives, you move $600 into income-producing assets. Yes, 20% right off the top. Now you have $2,400 left for everything else. Guess what happens? You become incredibly efficient with that remaining money because you have to be. But what assets should you choose? Kiyosaki emphasizes that assets put money in your pocket every month. He started with small real estate investments, even mobile home parks. Today, you have more options. You could buy dividend-paying stocks that send you checks every quarter. You could invest in REITs that pay monthly distributions. You could even start a small online business that generates passive income. Here's where the 3-month timeline comes in. Most people think getting rich takes years or decades. But Kiyosaki discovered something interesting about money momentum. When you consistently feed your asset column every month, compounding starts working in your favor much faster than you expect. Plus, the mental shift happens almost immediately. Month 1, you move $600 into assets. Maybe you buy shares in a REIT paying 8% annually. That's $4 in monthly income. Not much, but it's a start. Month 2, another $600 plus that $4. Month 3, you're now investing $608. By month 4, your asset income might cover your phone bill. By month 6, maybe your car payment. But here's the real magic that most people miss. The pressure you create forces you to increase your income. Kiyosaki talks about how financial pressure made him start thinking like an entrepreneur instead of an employee. When you can barely cover expenses, you start looking for side hustles, asking for raises, or developing new skills that command higher salaries. I've seen people transform their entire financial situation using this exact method. Sarah, a teacher making $40,000 per year, started investing $800 monthly in dividend stocks. The pressure forced her to start tutoring on weekends. Within 6 months, her tutoring income covered most of her living expenses, and her stock dividends were growing every quarter. The key psychological shift happens when you stop seeing your salary as spending money and start seeing it as investment fuel. Most people work for money, then spend that money and wonder why they never get ahead. Kiyosaki realized that rich people make money work for them instead of the other way around. Your brain will resist this initially. It will create a dozen reasons why you can't afford to pay yourself first. The rent is due. You need groceries. What about emergencies? These are all excuses designed to keep you in the same financial position forever. The rich dad mindset says that paying yourself first creates the urgency that forces solutions. Here's the brutal truth that Kiyosaki learned. If you can't afford to pay yourself first, you can't afford your current lifestyle, period. The lifestyle you think you can afford is actually keeping you broke. The moment you prioritize building assets, everything else adjusts to fit the remaining space. Start this week. Don't wait until next month or next year. Calculate 20% of your take-home pay. Set up an automatic transfer for the day your paycheck arrives. Choose one simple asset to start with, whether that's index funds, dividend stocks, or a REIT. The specific investment matters less than building the habit. 3 months from now, you'll have a small but growing stream of asset income. More importantly, you'll have rewired your brain to think like an investor instead of a consumer. That mental shift is worth more than any specific investment strategy. The question isn't whether this works. The question is whether you have the courage to make yourself uncomfortable for 3 months in exchange for potential financial freedom. What's it going to be?